Why won't society accept that coaching and mentorship from people that have accomplished what you want to go and do is infinitely better than college, universities?
I think you said something like the right person.
Yeah.
And there's a different consultant or coach or mentor, whoever, for different aspects of your life. That's kind of been a difficult navigation for me too, is because it's like, I'm no Mark Fournier. I'm not this life coach that's going to teach you all about your ego and all those things. But what I can teach you about is business. So if you're looking to increase your business margins, your people, your way of life, having a balanced life, like all those things, I'm your guy.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners, Evan Ritchie and Cameron Bodden, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control, stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
So I saw a post from someone that we mutually follow. I think you know him, the Muscle, Keaton Haskins. And you and I have talked about coaching a lot. Mentorship, that's probably a better, safer word. Maybe not. Who knows?
I feel like I've landed on consulting.
Consultant. Okay. Yeah. I like that better. Because that field is so diluted with so many phonies. But here's what that post said that made me rethink the concept of coaching, mentorship, or consultant. And he asked, why does society normalize the push for tens of thousands of students getting educations that cost them tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt for education? But there is this stigma around coaching. He said, I understand that there's bad guys out there, but why won't society accept that coaching and mentorship from people that have accomplished what you want to go and do is infinitely better than college, universities?
He was saying that it's infinitely better, not just as great, but just better.
Better.
Wow.
Not only for the direct ROI, but the immediacy in which you can apply things versus going to school and like, hey, I'm going for marketing, I'm going for communication. It's like, what do I do with that? Versus finding a consultant, mentor that has accomplished what you want to accomplish in life, and they give you immediate steps to take to go and do.
Yeah.
And I thought of you. So I'm gonna share that Cameron gets vulnerable sometimes, not to really anyone other than me. And you said your idea of giving back right now is helping other small business owners scale their businesses and start living a better life and get out of the little rat race. And I was like, that's great. You're like, I don't want to like promote, like I'm coaching, I'm doing all that. So you're now coaching. Consulting. What has been the process for you to just step into that role? And now I would say as of an hour ago, officially advertise to the world that like, hey, I have all this information.
Which
I want to help.
I hated it, man. I'm not gonna lie.
I could tell. I had to reshare it. I had to reshare it because I was like, oh, he was being vulnerable. I could tell.
Well, I just hate being braggadocious. Like, and to say I built 5 service companies and sold them for over $100 million, like that's pretty out there for me. And I hate doing that.
But why did you do that? Because you said it yesterday.
Well, the first 5 videos were not saying it. And Lexi's like, no, these are going out to people that don't know who you are. Yeah. And in order to get credibility, you have to like sound credible. Yeah. And you saying, hey, I'm going to start a consulting course or a live stream isn't like, you're just another guy to them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, like that kind of sucks. You got to play, we talk about it all the time. Like you got to play the game. And it hit me yesterday with Lexi when or a couple of days ago when we were filming it. I'm like, I know what I have to do right now. Like I have to become Cameron on the doors. Like it's a different Cameron.
Step into that mindset.
And it sucks. Like it honestly sucks, but you have to play the game. But we've had, I mean, we've had a ton of success already, and it's like, that like makes me feel good, you know? But I've, I don't know, like I didn't want to consult. So it first started, I want to give back. And then everyone was asking, and I would do like 15, 20-minute calls. And then I found
Free.
that, yeah, free, just like, hey, send me your information, like send me your number. I'll reach out to you when I can. And I literally was like probably 3 hours a day just trying to talk to people, you know, and
All varieties of,
any business,
okay.
any service. And I had a lot of fun doing it. But what was frustrating is I could tell, I could just know. And maybe I was wrong on that. But the feeling is that because they're not paying for it, they don't value it. And like, that's it. And it's frustrating because I know what my time's worth. I value my time. And here I am trying to do like a good deed, give back. But I just know like whatever I'm telling this guy to go do, he's not going to go do it. And I get frustrated. Right. And then I took on a couple consulting clients where I'm like, okay, I'm going to charge $3,000 a month. I'm going to get on for, 3 hours a month, and I'm going to do an hour phone call with them. And like those I really enjoy a lot because they're paying, what is that? 800 bucks a call, 900 bucks a call. Yeah. 1,000. I'll give them like 4 hours.
Okay, that's like 3 hours,
3.5, 4 hours. Yeah. That's how you can do the math that easily. I'm like, what's 3 divided by
3,000
1?
divided by 3.
So yeah, so anyways, I enjoy it, but what I found is that I hate being bogged down. Like I don't like knowing that I have to set aside time on a Friday when I like to leave town or do something else on a Friday. And so I'm like, gosh, what's this thing that I can give back that doesn't lock me down, but also like people show up for. And that's where I came up. Like, you probably had a lot, you've been huge and a huge, supporter of me, which I appreciate. Cause like you need people in your corner rooting for you. But we came up with the monthly live stream, and essentially like, I'm really excited about the monthly live stream because I was like, okay.
So talk to me. So like you want to coach or you want to consult, and monthly live stream is like you're hopping on, a Zoom, and then.
Well, if first, like I want to help businesses because of how you started. There's so many people out there that are wanting to give business advice that haven't ran a business. And that's what's frustrating. I think a lot of people feel that frustration. That's the great thing that came of me doing all these calls is like, we paid this much money for this course. We paid this much money for that course. But what we found out is like, these guys haven't lived the life that we've lived. And so there's almost, I don't want to be like, oh, there's a need for me to come in. No, there's a ton of people out there that are like probably a lot better than I am that have ran some service companies, but they're very few. And so that's where I'm like, I want to give back, but it's this weird pull of you have to charge or else people just don't show up. And then I don't want to like live this life where Thursdays and Fridays I'm on the phone for 6 hours a day because I got 12 clients. I just don't want to do that. And so what I came up with is this monthly live stream, and what it is, and we've done a couple of them and they were really successful. I didn't charge for them, but
Is this when you said, hey guys, I'm going to go live. Let me answer questions.
yeah.
You got 50 to 100
yeah,
people just sitting
cool.
there listening to you, talking to you.
Yeah. And it was fun. Like, and I had a good time with it. And, so what I came up with is like, hey, let's do a monthly live stream. It's $299 a month. I just pulled that out of the air. It was like, $300, that's cheap enough for people to show up, but also like, there's a little bit of a commitment there. And if you send a referral, someone signs up, cool. I'll knock $150 off you. I love the referral program, And the point is, at first I was like, I'm going to lock them into 6 months. I'm going to lock them into 12 months. And then I was thinking, no, like if you want to come, it's month to month, but I'm going to have 12 business principles that I'll be ready to train on if the questions aren't there and I don't feel like it's getting somewhere. Because in those monthly calls, like the hour flew by, but I felt like if I had like, hey, I want to talk about this principle around these topics, I feel like I could give back even more. And then where I get really excited is like when we build this community, and this is how I see it, is like this community of, my goal is 30 people minimum on this call each month, just 30 people. Like that's a win for me. And so why do you make that face?
I love how like modest you are. Like that'll happen tomorrow.
Yeah, it's almost already there. But that's like going into it's like I'll commit once a month if I can contribute to, minimum of 30 people. That's it. And that's a win for me. And that's what's so cool is that I want to create this community of people that throughout the month, I want to give a podcast to them around that topic. Right.
Like one that you find elsewhere.
One that I find, one that we've done. You know, we have a lot. Like one of the 12 principles is culture, is systems and processes, and we have a lot of podcasts on those. So it's like, hey guys, study this month, and a lot of this is like geared towards how I, learn easiest. It's like I study a book, I try and study podcasts throughout that month around that topic that I'm trying to learn, and it's like that's how I apply that principle in my life. And so each month we'll have a principle behind it, and we'll send out a newsletter, a book, and we've talked about doing a couple assignments. I don't know if I love that or not, but basically like here's like we've done the work for you. I want you to be a better version of yourself. The topic this month is self. Here's a podcast, a book, and maybe a newsletter on it and some training topics. Like go do it this month, and we'll talk about it at the end of the month. And what I'm excited about is like if we can create this amazing community, like I just want to keep giving back more and more. And so if that's doing office tours, or we've talked about doing quarterly like training in person, like that group, I'm just gonna give them, I'm gonna give them, if they're paying $299 a month, I'm gonna give them $2,000 a month in value, $5,000. Like it's gonna be awesome. I want to look back on 12 months and say that was the best $300 a month I ever spent.
Yeah. So another principle that I've come to appreciate for consulting is Alex Hormozy says, you don't have to have imposter syndrome if you only talk about what you know. Mm-hmm. And when I look back at all of his videos, he talks about like, this is my journey. This is what I did to get here. This is what I'm doing, rather than like, hey, I'm this broad consultant and I can help anyone. And so who would you say like your avatar is that you feel like you could help grow exponentially?
Probably because of my limiting beliefs. Like I can help someone up until $27 million in revenue. Okay. Because that's where I went up to. What's cool is we did a poll. What's up?
Just real quick, like bullet points. So if like people are listening and they're like, Cameron, I sign up with this coach because he's very niche and he helps me buy other businesses. Like you say people that are doing 27 million and under, would you say people that regardless of that revenue number that are trying to exit or want to position themselves to exit? Like what would you say are a few things that for people out there that like, oh, I'm in that category, I should join?
I mean, it's basically anyone that's in business. And I believe everything happens for a reason. So it's been almost a year now, I think, maybe 9 or 10 months, where I told Lexi, I'm like, I want to write a book.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that looks like. Anyways, we've been using a copywriter for many, many years, and it turns out like he writes books. And we interviewed him, and I kind of was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this yet. And then when the acquisition happened with Pesco, it was, I think this is a perfect time to like write a book and end this chapter. And what I was telling you before the podcast is that what's cool is he came down for like 3 days and we spent all day together. And like I gave him access to all my journals, all my coaching notes.
Your journals?
Yeah. He knows everything.
I want to read those.
Journals, coaching notes. He got access to anyone he wanted to as far as like management or friends. And we just spent 3 days together, and he basically like compiled a list of like 9 business principles that I always like, that it, like at my core, this is who these service companies were. And so it's just like organically happened. And so those are the 9 principles that I'm talking about. And there's a couple other ones that aren't like, that are important. That's why I say 12 that aren't going to be in the book, but like just little things that, we'll add on. And I'm sure some months will bleed over and stuff, but it's like really cool how it's just kind of all coming together in my mind of like, there's a very clear direction of what we did to do what we've done at Coconut and Green Mango. And that's what I want to share with people. And so that's why I say like anyone in business, because some of these things, and you and I see it all the time when we go speak at these events, or people that DM us on Instagram, like people that are doing 10, $15 million in revenue don't know what a customer acquisition cost is. They don't know, an incentive plan.
They don't know what to do with that information either.
So it's like, dude, if you're, and that's where I say like 27 million, I feel like we were just getting started,
Yep.
you know,
I feel that
but that's
momentum.
where that's where I'm saying like Alex Hormozy, hey, I can help you up to 27 million. After that, I believe I can, but maybe not. I don't,
Right.
I don't know. But these things that we talk about, they make a difference. And so,
So do you, this is going to be one time a month stream? And then is there a community that you're going to have them a part of? Is there going to be like a newsletter? Are you going to condense the information that you're learning from your little community? Like, what do you plan to do with like the way I like to see it is I saw on Instagram, like totally changed my mind on how I view views, is this guy with like hundreds of thousands of followers was talking to a friend. He's like, but like if I post a video, it only gets like 200 views. He's like, just imagine having 200 people in front of you.
yeah.
And like when I think about your 30 goal, which I know it's going to far surpass that, is the demographic of people that you're going to get are also people that probably could learn from each other too.
Yeah.
So like what is it going to be as you go? You're going to find more things to do with them, more resources, or is it like, hey, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get this podcast, this book, and this call, and we'll know in a few months if there's anything else I could give you.
Well, like I want to under promise and over deliver. And so,
Gotcha.
but like, and it's an evolving thing. Like
You have your shirt off on the first stream. You're like,
where
welcome.
I could, welcome, start bouncing my, what I want to do is create this community of people that are actively wanting to get better. And so that's why, I was telling Lexi, like, we need to find our platform. In business, we use Slack. I don't know if it's like an Instagram and it's
You know where it is though, right?
Broadcast. So Instagram, I guess, because we reach so many followers, we now have access to a broadcast channel. Do you know what that is? So that's my idea, is like, we have this group of people, we're all on there, we're sharing wins, and so it's just, I don't know, like, that's the platform. I think of it as like a big group message of friends or business owners that are together that are just sharing their wins or sharing their insights and information. And we get together once a month on the call. And, I think I could see something where like we do some type of like retreat together in the future. And it's like, hey, you guys are invited for this, like we're all going together. And whether that's Lake Powell, like I have this vision of Lake Powell and everyone coming down there and doing, I don't know, like that's where I just want to have fun with people that want to get better.
Sick.
I hate you, man.
What's it called?
The 1% Club.
Why?
Have I not told you about this? For the fans.
listeners.
But okay, what podcast was I just talking about this on? I don't know. I feel like I've explained this a lot because I am passionate about it right now. So you came to my dinner with Liz. She threw like a very favorite, close.
The highlight of last year for sure.
Really?
I told you this. I said that like
for the camera. Really?
So when I was there, that reinvigorated like my desire to like just dominate.
That's cool. So yeah, the 1% Club, man. I'm wearing it. I never wore this hat after the party until like 3 weeks ago because of what it represented. And it came across as like kind of cocky and boisterous and all those things. And I didn't like it. So I loved what Liz was doing. She was celebrating 1%. 1% of companies make over $10 million in revenue and they're actually profitable, or less than 1%. And so that's what Liz was kind of celebrating for the party.
Then there's also the economic.
Then after it was like, that hat was cool for the party list, but I never told her this because I don't want to make her feel bad, but it was like, I don't want to go wear this hat out, And, but then like, as I've started to coach and Casey brought light to it, is that, hey, with weekly planning, our goal is to continue to get 1% better every single week. And it was like a light bulb moment for me because I'm like, I've been living this 1% better my whole life. Like I feel like who I am and what's made me special is like, I don't try and, catch this right away. I'm like very patient, but I'm consistent. I just get a little bit better every single week with what I do. And so the 1% Club means two things for me. 1% because of, less than 1%
what you accomplished.
Make it. And then 1% is like, our goal with this group is to get 1% better. And that's it. And I think it's so cool. Yeah, that's the other thing is even like, even with a lot of successful business owners or people, like they still don't have the best networking group of people to discuss like their challenges and their problems with. You just said like a whiteboarding session isn't the same without you. And it's like, that's not to take away from anyone else, but it's just different.
Yeah.
And so when you're in a group with other entrepreneurs that are in the same boat of 1 million to $27 million in revenue, like you're going through different phases at different levels, but you're still going through the same thing. And there's so much power in having that. That's why you've been so beneficial to me this past year. That's why Rob Horn was so awesome for me, and showing me that you can do it, and so that's like, there's just so many cool things that I get excited about, and it checks all the boxes for me because it's not this huge commitment where I have to be on a call for, in order to coach 30 people, I'd literally have to book out my whole week. But this is once a month call for an hour. We'll probably might go over a little bit, but it's like, it's that. And then getting together the podcast, and it's actually been a lot of work. Like, we've been working on this for 2-3 months, and Lexi's done a great job on the platform that we're using to build people on and send invoices and to get, send the videos on and all the things. There's just a lot that goes behind it, but it's been fun to do the past couple months.
So two questions. This one's not a question, but it's more so, this is a statement of one of the most consistent compliments that I give you. And I'll use one of my favorite church talks as the title. It's one of my favorite talks as it pertains to leadership. And it's the greatest leaders are the greatest followers. And what I've always admired about you is that I've always seen that you're very conservative with your finances, but any chance that you've had to grow, you've put money into coaches and consultants yourself in private, not publicly advertising it. And you don't have to get into the details, but like, I know the nature of those calls stemmed from disconnects you were having, whether it be with employees or your partners. And rather than just like, I want to stonewall through my belief systems and have my way, you would consistently, like if there'd be conflict, I could tell the wheels would start turning, and then you'd bring it up like a week later and be like, hey, I talked to Mark and I want to understand this. And you would have a new framework for approaching problems. And so I don't know how many coaches and consultants who continuously still get consultants and coaches. But what I appreciate about what you do is that even now you have invested time and money into having a consultant for you that has done and been where you are now.
Right.
So as you continue to help people and as you continue to climb, you naturally are able to get to a new peak and look down at the climbers below and say, hey, step here, do this. But then you're also simultaneously looking up at a different peak and getting that advice from another person. And so the amount of, like I always joked with you that you invested 6 figures a year into consultants, and I was getting all the reward for it because you would teach and share what you learned. And so a lot of the times I'll say stuff that like, know thyself. I wouldn't know that. But you spent the 10K a month for Mark to know thyself. Like, there is so much benefit in just having more than just a mentor and a consultant, but if you are doing it with the right person, the value you're getting from them, if they're sharing what they're learning from people going further, it just compounds further than the mark that you're even saying of 27 million.
I love that.
Because as you help those guys grow, they're going to get to that peak and they're going to get up and to dab you up and they'll be like, wait, where's Cam? You're like, oh no, sorry, bro. Like, that's when I started. I'm up, I'm here now. And you can continue to elevate. And I like the principle of being the regulator in the room, the thermostat in the room. Like, you set the temperature. If you want to come in, you want to change, be a part of this.
Yeah.
If you don't, or if you're not ready, you're going to find out. And I find a lot of peace when I interact with you about specific aspects of the business, because you don't always go into what I need to do. Sometimes you just help me offload my plate and what I don't need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so if people are like, I can't do consulting, cost money, time, you're inevitably paying money and time not having the right coach and consultant. And so I've always appreciated how you've continually sought learning. But I know that when I accomplish what you have, you're going to be here and I can just keep learning. And I think that those who join the 1% Club are going to find out that there is a different thermostat and there is a different speed at which people run. And I look forward to a lot of them learning.
No, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I think you said something like the right person.
Yeah.
And there's a different consultant or coach or mentor, whoever, for different aspects of your life. And that's kind of been a difficult navigation for me too, is because it's like, I'm no Mark Fournier. I'm not this life coach that's going to teach you all about your ego and all those things. But what I can teach you about is business.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're looking to increase your business margins, your people, your way of life, having a balanced life, like all those things, I'm your guy. If you're wanting to go understand relationships and, you know, all that and your ego, and you're like, Mark's your guy, I'm not your guy. And like, that's hard because that's another thing. I feel like every consultant tries to, you know, act like they're the man.
They
and
have
all
it
those
all.
things,
Yeah.
you know? And so I don't know, I'm super excited. Yeah, it'll be great, man.
Dan Martell was answering questions on Instagram. And one of the questions was, can you help me navigate, you know, working at a company with my wife? It gets difficult at times and we don't know how to separate work boundaries, work-life boundaries. And his response was, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Rather than like, hey man, you
Trying
can
to
do
act
this,
like
that.
it.
He's like, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he could offer vague advice, but yeah, like that
cool.
just help me respect him more, that he's not trying to help anyone and everyone, but it's very niche in what he's trying to do. And even you saying people in business, that's still niche to like what this world of consultants and coaching is. Cause like you said, it's life, it's spirituality, mental, physical. But you embody a lot of those, characteristics. And I think that, naturally we're going to see, I hope a lot of people are in Arizona. Like we'll see our little micro economy of people get a lot better. Look forward to seeing that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.